Oh my gosh, Sap, you're too much sometimes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's stream. Where today I'm going to be taking on your topic. Oh gosh, I just drew a blank. John, hello. I drew a blank. I'm taking on your topic, John. I'm going over the topic of forgiveness, but specifically taking it from the particular direction of what the Bible says about forgiveness, which I think is a really good focus. Because I have talked about forgiveness before in previous thought raids, but it's good to talk about it again, and I think it's really also good and a unique perspective to talk about it from a biblical standpoint when it comes to forgiveness. And I'm doing all of that while playing No Man's Sky, which is something I don't think I've done on stream yet. It's been a game I've been wanting to play. Finally, we're going to be playing some No Man's Sky this time. Something a little bit different. I'm giving it a try because I feel like it's going to be a game that's not as hard for me to multitask in. It's not as stressful as some other games that I've played. So let's just jump right into that. Well, welcome back to Thought Raid, a community about friends, gaming, and better ways of thinking. I'm Brandon, and I apologize for being late. I was trying to get everything together, and at the last minute, I could not figure out where the screenshots I was taking from the game were going, and I had to spend an additional, 20 minutes just figuring that out just so I could have the thumbnail, which is very important when you're streaming. So I got that taken care of. My apologies, but I'm back! We just got through the wedding of Noah and Lauren. They are now married, and it's exciting, and I'm very happy for them. And so that was really good, and maybe at some point I'll share some more pictures with you guys on the Discord channel. But that is why I've been gone the last week. I was there hosting his bachelor party, and then after that point was his wedding, and they happened to be on the exact same days as Thought Raid. So that his wedding takes priority in this situation. So yes, but we're gonna be playing some No Man's Sky today, and I'm very excited for that because it's a very good game, and hopefully everything will run as smoothly as it should. Yes, soon to be what? Why are they turning into a smoothie? So, anyways, the topic today, the thing that I want to be talking about, that's going to be too loud. Forgiveness. And this is something that you brought up, John, which I don't even know if you're here yet, but hopefully you'll come in and I won't have to repeat myself too much, but I will be glad to again. But I want to talk about forgiveness, as suggested, from a biblical perspective, because I think it's much more interesting than just what the world typically has to say about forgiveness, and very all-encompassing, I would like to say. So I'm going to be switching back and forth between showing you what I'm doing in No Man's Sky, trying this out. Hopefully it's a slow enough game that I can not worry about dying, and also talking about the topic. What on earth what is this chip smoothies? Something about getting stuck in my... what is happening? I need to, look back and see what's being said here. It's been too long since I've seen your beautiful mustache. And I have not played it yet, so I've not played No Man's Sky before. So good, thank you for pointing that one out, because I wasn't 100% sure about that. You know what you also haven't done in this stream for a while? Raft. I require the continuation of that series. Okay, well, I will get there, but why? What is happening with making obsidian into some sort of smoothie? I remember that from last time, but then there's something about chips, and that's where I'm getting lost. Let's keep talking. We're just discussing Noah and Lauren completely unrelated smoothies. Got it. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to do that because it's so... I don't know where to even to take that. So, anyways... welcome to No Man's Sky. I just created a new world, so I have... I'm freezing to death, and that's something I'm going to have to work on. I'm also going to need to turn this down a bit. I don't need to hear it as loud as I'm currently hearing it. No Man's Sky is fun. If you've never played No Man's Sky, effectively, you've got a near infinite amount of solar systems to explore and various amounts of planets on every one of them. And I had to start this twice, And both times it put me on a very hostile frozen planet, which is great. And I am definitely going to need to do something to keep myself from freezing to death, which, fortunately, it's just in like a casual mode, so it shouldn't take too long for me to get that, and I should not die that fast. Hopefully. But there's a lot of exploration. You can have your own ship, you can have your own base, you can have your own capital ship, and you can explore many different types of environments. Hot ones, cold ones, toxic ones, on fire ones, which again is hot. So I guess you could say desert ones and volcanic ones? Question mark? And then also like normal ones too, which are not immediately hostile to you. Completely barren ones, ones with oceans. And what is that? Unidentified plant. I don't have a... Okay, I cannot analyze that. Well, that's dumb. I can shoot it, though. I can get carbon out of it. So, this is one of the few games you streamed that I haven't played, so I will not be able to give you any tips. Well, darn. I was hoping that you would be able to teach me how to play this game, and now I can't count on you to do that. Just have to watch me as I destroy large parts of its topography. And check out whatever that burning thing is in this pillar. One of the interesting things, and I don't know what is happening. One of the interesting things about this game is that you don't automatically know the language of all the aliens that are around you. You literally have to learn their language one word at a time through these things, or by talking to them. And it's just, the first time it's like, oh, you interacted with this thing for the first time, and so it has like a whole bunch of text. But then afterwards, it just like gives you the word for something. Apparently, this projects language straight into my brain, and I learn the word for something. A robotic life form turns towards me. Light streams from their metal shell, forming a glowing fog that surrounds both of us. The gesture towards me. I accept the knowledge. The name for Korvax floats in my vision, an echo of the strange vision I just experienced. A word in this alien tongue is seared into my brain. And just like that, I learned a word. And it's funny because you literally learn one word at a time. So, like, I'll learn the word, I don't know, and. And it's just like, what? Okay, well, now I can recognize when that particular alien says that particular word and nothing else. So, that's fun. But how, since it's been a whole week, before I get into any bit of the topic, how has your weeks been? Where is your wooden shed? There's not, also, why is this floating in the sky? There's not, hello? Salvaged it. It's just floating in the sky. Can I get rid of you? I cannot. Okay. But no, I can't, there is wooden sheds, but, they're not as important. And I've just literally started. Why would I want residual goop? I can get money for it. There's that. I'll just leave it there. I don't need goop. But yet not as important. That thing is bad. Now it's mine. It's giving me oxygen. That's important. Yeah, I'll need like a computer. Eventually, I need to figure out where a ship is. I don't know if I have a ship. I don't think I'd not necessarily start out with a ship. Get out of here. But the main thing about this is you have to collect a bunch of elements, and the elements are used to construct other things. So, effectively, I started shooting. I started blasting. Everything and anything in sight. Dust, creatures, plants, all of it's mine. That's a little metal deposit over there. Can't do anything about that because presently all I can do is mine things. That's it. But no, how has your week been since I have heard from you guys last? Yes, Calypso. Like, Zap, how has your week been? Calypso, how has your week been? Good. Has anything interesting happened? I could have a little bit more sound. Oh, nice. It is pretty good. It's worth downloading. You had a provincial tournament and game third. Wait. And game third. Oh, I did read that correctly. Okay. I don't know what those words mean. And you had a field trip to hang... Oh, nice! Okay, did you make it all the way to the top of Hanging Rock? I could also download it, but I just kind of don't want to. Okay, well, that's fine. Oh, you came in third. Okay. Oh, you did not make it to the top. Okay. Autocorrect. The bane of your existence, specifically. But to be fair, also the bane of my existence as well. Okay. Yes. I've made peace with autocorrect personally, because the things that it comes up with are so ridiculous that it makes me laugh every time. So I don't mind it too much, but it can be annoying. The new keyboard that I have, to be fair, that's a little bit annoying. Because my new keyboard, for my new phone, that is, not my PC, but for my phone, hasn't memorized the words that I'm trying to swipe, and it'll give me such random crap. I'm like, ugh, and I'll have to type, like, I don't know, the word carbon like 50 times over before it finally gets the word carbon. And that's annoying. Okay, can't do that right now. Moving on. Is that just straight carbon? It is, and I can't mine it. Okay. Oh! Now. You annoying hazardous plant. They sound out pretty well, but you'll still run right into them. And they'll just do you damage. But I'm not playing anything hardcore, so it should be fine. It's fine. Alright, so... I need to start creating new things. I need a visor to scan stuff. I'm going to need to have some sort of force field, but let's start with the visor. I need carbon nanotubes. But that I will need to create, and that is through exosuit, question mark? Yes. That. There we go. Alright. Exosuit. Multi-tool. What just happened? There we go. We can scan things. Damage scanner. Good. Okay, now I should be able to stare at things. Yep, there we go. And I can start making money by literally scanning things. Hello? Oh, that's a huge ship. Hello. Okay. I'm not alone! This is kind of reminding me of a third-person style Subnautica Below Zero. Yeah, it's got... I mean, this one world, maybe, I guess you could relate to that, but it's so vast. I mean, the correlations is I'm in space. Well, I can be in space. I'm currently on a planet, but I can be in space. And this is a frozen planet. That's about it. I think those are the two main but other than that, you can go in the water, but the creatures you find down there, so far I've not found anything that's tremendously dangerous. Oh, I should scan that annoying plant. There we go. Yeah, you got a crafting system too, and yeah, should take some moment to repair that. There we go. So I'm not as frozen. Okay. So, let's see. Pretty much, my objectives... Oh. Where is it detected? I have it detected, but I don't reach the marked signal. Oh, okay, that way. Cool. Yeah, Below Zero has a very... Well, I'm sure Subnautica in general has a heavy alien theme because it is designed to be alien in general. Like, you're literally on a random oceanic planet trying to survive your best. Can I scan that? No, I can't. Jettison pod. And that rock. What is over here? Let's see. Ooh, microprocessor. That's nice. What's over here? Carbon. And something that I cannot... Do I have rusted metal? Quick transfer. Oh, it just has rusted metal. Well, that's... Okay. Oh. And I received condensed carbon. Got it. What is your question? Who is the I don't know who the It could be me. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of... I literally... The way that I have my screen set up until I pull it back over so I can pull up some scripture verses is I've got... first of all, I have two screens. Over here to my left is... and now they're gone. You brought it up, and they got scared, and they left. Anyways, I have two screens. On my left screen, I have Streamlabs as the main overlay. And then right next to that, with a sliver just enough that I can see the chat, is YouTube. Yes, thank you. And so I got it there that way. But I have it blocked so I can't see the amount of viewers watching, and I have viewers hidden on Streamlabs as well because I don't want to know. I do not want to know if there's 50 people watching me or just one person or no one watching me, because it's not, for me, it's not really about how many people are watching me. It's just making sure that I'm talking to people that are there. I know, but you would only account for 3 viewers with me, Calypso, and you. So, I don't know. Just random people. Maybe it's just some person just seeing, oh, look, someone's playing No Man's Sky. Oh, drop right in. Or maybe they saw what we're talking about and thought, well, that's interesting. I don't know. Damaged container. What do we got here? More carbon. Cool. There's always one more. Just... I'm not watching, just talking. And they leave as soon as I mention too suspicious. It could also be someone with like a poor internet connection going in and out. That's also possible. I don't know. Who just leaves carbon in a box, just sitting there? Okay. Well, sweet. But I guess first objective is to get to my ship. Or a ship. I don't know if it's my ship or a ship. I think that could be considered my ship. Hello. You are ugly. Now you are scanned. What even are you? Okay. What is the question? Here we go. What? Oh, another creature. Did I scan you? Nope, I am now. I don't know. That is a mystery you're going to have to figure out because I am not on the path to figuring that out right now. Oh, I don't think I've scanned you either. And now I have. Not anymore, you just C2. Well, they were. I don't know. Okay. Look at my flaming hot ship. It is dying. It also has oxygen nearby. That's good. Go. Hide in the shadows, lurking, biding their time until we stop paying attention so they can stalk us. Yeah. Okay. Living slime. Do I just remove that so I can fix this thing? No, can't fix it. Okay, cool. Okay, dihydrogen jelly, that's going to be important. Dihydrogen is an important part of me getting off the planet. Okay. And this thing. Ah! Scenario, iteration, a big number, deleted, boundary separation, failure likely. Oh, that's not good. Vessel 16 emptied, cause, sentinel intervention, deliberate transfer. Analysis, fresh iteration generated, anomaly containment prepared. Broadcast? Oh, it's gone. Okay. Traveler anomaly detected. Anomaly is compliant. Position log. System integrity scan initialized. Cool. I just see something I can interact with. A rock. Scan the rock! Cool. On the brighter side, I got to 100 followers on TikTok and 100 subs on YouTube. Well, congratulations! Congratulations. I kind of, in a way, I kind of expect most people to surpass me pretty early on. Guess what? What, Calypso? Okay. Here's the ship. It's online. Atlas connection. Intermittent. Launch thrusters. Offline. Pulse engine. Offline. I find myself alone in a strange world, unequipped and in danger. I have no memory of how I got here, no sense of a before, and also no language, except one word at a time from a pillar. Okay, sweet. I don't know if you'll just be able to join me, because I didn't start a multiplayer world. I just did a single-player one. But the ship at least seems to recognize me. The controls react to my touch, or at least to the that of my exosuit. I'm not dead yet, and this ship is a lifeline out to the stars. Sure. Unavailable. No logs. Great. Exosuit. Connected. Pilot should perform maintenance. Okay, cool. Oops. I think it did that same thing again. Oh. Something about a scanner. Okay. Thrusters. That thing requires that, that thing. Damaged launch thruster part. Pure ferrite. Don't have that. What does that require? Wholesome hermetic seal and metal plating. Got it. And that's fine. Cool. So I can just get out of that. Cool. You might pull a Road 9 and just take 4 streams trying to work out the kinks just so you're unable to join. Oi. And also, hello, Kenneth. They're back. Yeah. Okay. Has that been scanned? Nope. Scan that. Alright. Okay. So all that's good. We have this light. Don't know if it's working or not, but I can interact with it. Only account for 3. Yeah, maybe it's me. It's, yeah, I'm starting new. okay, I didn't understand the question. You're saying, have you played No Man's Sky before, or are you starting new? I have played it before, so I'm not completely, it's not like a complete and total foreign thing to me. But I am starting fresh. I just wanted to do a world that, what is that? That is a mountain. Hello. I wanted to start a world that I've never done before. That's in something casual, since eventually today I'm going to start talking about forgiveness. So, I have started off something that's pretty simple, and I don't have to worry about surviving as bad as if I was doing a regular world. That's been my goal. The Phantom 5th viewer. They disappear once we call them out, yeah. Well, then, maybe you should stop worrying about how many people are watching me, just like I'm not worried about how many people are watching me, and just enjoy the moment. We must dispel this demon from the stream. Okay. What does that sound? Is that another ship? Okay. If it is... Oh, there it is. Okay. Like, if it is, I don't know where it is. Did I scan you? Yes, I did. Okay. I don't need you doing an exorcism on the stream, Zap. There are no demons on this stream. Scanned, 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 scanned. Okay. So, alright. I think my first goal is I'm going to need to have ways, obviously, repairing the ship, and I think I need specific equipment for that. So I'm going to work on that, especially since this area is relatively flat. Where's the holy water? Alright. And to do that, I think it's X that I use to create stuff. Summon vehicles, creature, utilities, yes. Nope, 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 no. I need a library. That's interesting. Oh, I could just add songs to this. That's interesting. Ha! That's new. It's gonna have to... There's no exorcist that needs to be performed, and my water is not going to do anything about that situation. I am not sorry. Don't need to recharge equipment. I don't think it's a vehicle that I need either. Trade rocket, that's interesting. Not a creature thing. Then swap multi-tool? No, I don't think it's that either. Multi-tool. I can build myself a shield or force field, and I can build myself a bolt caster. But that's neither what I need either. Oy. Exosuit. I can do an oxygen recycler. That's not necessary. And I guess I can build things this... Okay. I can build things this way. Don't be fooled. They're here to lure you in. Okay. Anyways. So. Forgiveness. Holy squish plushie. Okay. No. Gosh. Anyways, okay. So, the topic that John brought up that I want to go over today is on the topic of forgiveness. I want to take a second, sit in my vehicle before I go out of it, and then have to focus on finding things again. I want to talk about forgiveness also because it's something that's there's something that's very important to me. Like, extremely important to me. And it's become important to me because I know that it's also... I know that it's also very important to God. And there's a couple of scripture verses that come to mind if you wanted to look at it from like a biblical Christian perspective of why forgiveness is so important. And there's actually 2 or 3 particular scripture verses that kind of pull it in. One of which that Jesus was bringing up when he was responding to his disciples. Actually, come to think of it, most most full-on, head-on topics about forgiveness came through Jesus specifically in the Bible. So it's like, not to say that forgiveness was not something that would exist, like was talked about in the Old Testament, but in the New Testament with Christ, I'm glad you saved the day. Thank you. with the New Testament, Jesus really brought in the focus on forgiveness. And kind of, his whole entire life on earth, before he died and was resurrected, it's like it all revolved around forgiveness. He took forgiveness very seriously. And so, in fact, he came and he died in order to bring forgiveness to people for sins that they had committed. And so there's a couple scripture verses which Jesus directly talks about forgiveness. And then if you were to look at the overall picture of his life in either any of the Gospels, you'll see a story of a man coming to this world from God, through the Virgin Mary, who came specifically to die for the mistakes that we made, they may be forgiven, that we would be able to have restored communion with God. And I cannot state this enough, because I don't know, it's really hitting me now because the topic is about forgiveness, that the whole story of the Gospels of Jesus has all revolved around us being forgiven of the stupid mistakes that we've all made. Totally and completely through his blood, specifically. And it began, the whole concept of forgiving of sins began, I think... Now, every time I think about a specific point, I'm made aware of another point that goes even farther back behind that part, which is interesting. Thank you. I'm glad that you're solving this fake issue, Zap. Thank you. I'm in a tough one. Well, I wouldn't say it's tough. It's just expansive, because as I'm sitting, like, I had a couple. Okay, Kenneth, I had a couple examples in mind, but then as I sat down and thought about it, I've been sitting down the whole time, but as I thought about it, the examples started to greatly expand, and I don't know if it's a matter of me remembering these things or God pointing them out to me, or both, but I'm recognizing this whole journey of forgiveness is something that it starts in Genesis and comes to its peak climax in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And obviously, I'm not capable of reading that whole story from point A to point B, because it's a lot. Several chapters, many verses, maybe about the same size as a Harry Potter book. I don't know. But it's a lot. But the whole story of forgiveness began, honestly, at the Garden of Eden. I don't know if any of you guys, who of you have not heard of the Garden of Eden? Is there anybody in this stream who is not aware of the creation story in Genesis and the concept of the Garden of Eden and its existence? Does anyone not know about that? Or is everyone pretty much on the same page of what that was about? Or maybe are aware of it, but you don't really know a lot about it and could use perspective on that? Because I'm curious. I like to assume that everyone knows, but I'm sure not everyone knows. But not in the detail. Okay. I don't know anything about the Bible. Okay, cool. Then I've got some explaining to do. I don't know why I got out of my ship, because frickin' I've got some explaining to do. Alright. You've heard of it. Okay, cool. Alright, let me get back into the ship, because there is no way I'm going to be able to cover that and walk around this planet. Not happening. He knows a little. Okay. So, alright. Let's take it all the way back. Let's go all the way back. Genesis 1, Bible talks about, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Surprisingly, from my view, my few years of going to church, That's the topic I've heard of the least about. Okay, cool. Well, this is exciting. Cool. All right. So the creation story goes like this, all right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and he did it in 6 days. We don't know if a day was a representation of several years or just an actual literal day. It's not, and the Bible does not necessarily say, it was not clear exactly that it says days. We go by the assumption of days, a lot of us in the Christian belief. But it was created in 6 days. Each day, something different was created. And the way that it was created doesn't necessarily debunk the beginning stories of, like, that we have through our modern school system, like the Big Bang. Like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Just all of a sudden, explosion life began. Like, I don't know. I'm not threatened by the story of evolution when I read Genesis, because when God created everything into existence, it could have very well just exploded, and then there was just a whole bunch of things that he started to mold and shape into what we see today. But he spoke it into existence. And I want to make sure I get the order of this stuff correct. I feel heavy on that. Especially since some of you have not really heard much about that. So I'm not going to right away see what you're saying. If I miss something, is because I can't. Actually, I can. Let me separate this. Pop that out. There we go. So that way I don't have to have that on the same screen. Oh, that's so good. Okay, cool. Now I actually can see and look at this website at the same time. We're cruising. All right. So we got the beginning story, all right? 6-day creation. Day 1, God spoke the heavens and the earth into existence, but it was formless, it was dark, it was just like blobs of material, but nothing was happening. Day 2, he was like, all right, let there be light. And so before there was planets, before there was even a sun, there was light. All right? He separated the light from the darkness, and that hits me because when you read about the Big Bang Theory, when everything started, it was just hot matter that just all of a sudden there it was. Nothing has formed into anything. Just absolute chaos. You'd died. All right, and all this hot energy and matter that was going on, like maybe not matter. I remember it was matter or just energy or whatever. Either way, whole bunch of it. You could see how, okay, there was nothing, suddenly there was everything, and yeah, there wouldn't be a sun yet, there wouldn't be a planet yet, and so we're on day 2, and now we've got light, and we've got stuff, all that would come into what we currently have now, in those first 2 days, and then before he even gets to forming, and this is where it begins to deviate from the evolution story, but before we get to, like, okay, the earth, slowly cools from the birth of the sun, all this stuff comes together and this rocks come together. Hello, Gaming Warrior, good morning. He creates, he separates the waters from the waters. Now, waters in the Old Testament, to my understanding, of what I have been told about Hebrew and the way they write things, waters could mean a bunch of different things. I remember hearing at some point there was the concept of the ether, that it was widely believed before we got to our current understanding of things. So when they're talking about separating the waters from the waters, that could mean a bunch of different things. It could mean that, like, it was literal water separated from literal water, or the separation of water from air. I don't know, but it's talking about in day 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's day 2. Day 1, work with me here. Day 1, light, darkness separated. Day 2, water separated. Okay, if I can just read, that'd be great. All right, so day 1, there's light, there's darkness. Day 2, there's water separated from water. One part of it's considered the sky. The other part of it is considered, let's see. Let there be a vault between the waters. I don't want the New International Version. Give me the English Standard Version, because that's a little more in-depth. Where is ESV? I can read. There we are. Okay. Okay. Let there be an expanse in the midst of the water. Let it separate waters from waters. And God made the expanse and separated the waters from under the expanse of the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening and there was morning, second day. Okay, so we got separation of light and darkness. We got separation of above the heavens and not heaven. Day 3, then we start having, let's see here. Let's see. Let there be heaven, let the waters under the heavens be gathered into one place, and let dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the waters he gathered together he called seas, and God saw that it was good. So, day 2, we've got a separation of the expanse of the sky and the expanse of not sky. Then we had a separation of water and land at that same day. So dry land existed, and then everything that was not dry land pulled into water. So we've got day 2, planets have formed at this point, or Earth was formed, and it had a separation of what was sky, what was not sky, what was land, what was water. All that was done. That was day 2. Day 3, God started creating the vegetation that existed, bearing like different types of trees with fruits and seeds, all that kind of stuff. That was on the 3rd day. And then by the 4th day, then he started creating, like, making actual celestial bodies. So what was light then became the sun, and I guess the moon also was created in that time frame. So days 1 and 2 is where things, like, by day 2, things begin separating from the timeline that we have. We have the evolutionary timeline. There's the Big Bang. You have a whole bunch of energy, a whole bunch of matter. The matter eventually comes together to form stars, and then around stars form planets, and then from there, they're molten, they cool down, and somehow water gets involved in that and everything, and then from there, small little microscopic beings begin to form, and they create light, all that kind of stuff. In the Bible, it's a little bit different. You've got light and dark, then you have separation of waters and waters and waters, and then you have vegetation, and then after vegetation, animals are not even in the picture. That's day 4. No, that's day 5. Day 4 is when you've had light, you've had darkness. Now you're going to have the sun, which is now the representation of light. It actually is the one casting the light, and you have the moon. And God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day and the night, and let them be signs for seasons, for days and years, and let the lights in the expanse of the heavens give light upon the earth. And it was so, and God made 2 great lights, the greater to rule the day, the lesser to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them into the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule over the day and over the night, and separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, 4th day. Makes less sense than math class. Things are different, all right? Those were just other stars. Our star was first. That's why they had a first day and had night. This is the order of which things are specifically listed in the Bible. So we have that. Then after that, then we have fish and birds come next, which is interesting. And I know that in the evolution story, you have like some kind of small prokaryotic being turning into a bigger being, and that being comes out of the water eventually, and then it's able to breathe air, and then eventually we go from that, and then it explodes into birds and other things. But in this situation, birds and fish came into existence at the same time. God created them. So it's different in this situation. And the reason why I'm kind of like take this, like looking at this very interesting way and like comparing the two things is because I'm wondering, like, from my personal perspective, I side more with what the Word of God says than what evolutionists say and how they see things ordered to be. That's not to say that I throw out what they believe or what their theories, because they are interesting to me. But I'm keeping my ears open because the things that was taught to me when I was in high school and middle school is different from what's being taught to you guys as people are finding new things and new discoveries are made. So it's not exactly a one-to-one ratio, what you've learned to what I've learned. It's being changed as people are discovering more things. And so I've noticed, every once in a while, I'll notice that people in scientific communities will find things that do line up, interestingly, with the Word of God. And so right now, there's, at least in American society, there is this dichotomy of how things came into being according to the Bible and how science say things have come into existence. And I've watched, like, some of it kind of come a little bit closer than it was when I was first in high school in comparison to now. And I've just been, it's interesting. So I always like to, like, look at both sides and see what are they learning now. Because I'm curious. I'm definitely curious if we'll end up coming to find that this here is more accurate than what they've been saying this whole time. We'll see. But anyways, so first day, I was not expecting to go into a creation story from a topic about honesty, but I'm going to pull it all together. Don't worry. So you've got day one, light, darkness. Even before they're celestial objects, they've already come into existence. Day two, we've got waters being separated. What is a planet is being separated from what is not a planet. So I guess, but you could say that by day two, different celestial objects are starting to take form, and they're coming out of the chaos of everything that's created into their own separate entity. So by day two, we now have we have Earth, and Earth itself is coming into being, and whatever waters exist on it is being separated from, like, it's not all just one congealed mass. And one thing that I have learned through my studies is that from a scientific perspective, they mentioned that there was a period of time from the Big Bang till now where the ambient temperature in space was warm enough that liquid water could exist outside of a planet. Like, you could have actual liquid water. You could go out into space, and you would not, like, it would be warm enough that you could have water outside of a planet, essentially, and it wouldn't be just frozen ice rock. And I thought that was interesting. That is the extent of what I've heard about it. I haven't gone in depth about it, but that's something that I've kind of latched onto and kind of put a pin into. So, anyways, how many? 5. They're back. The Phantom Fifth. Leave it alone, Zap. Leave the person alone. Does not matter. It's fine. To be fair, I think Christianity has something to do with some kind of point, because it started many years ago, and it's still the most popular religion today. Has to have some kind of point. Yes, and I'll get into that. The Bible mentioning genetic mutation and cloning. What were you talking about? Real quick, as I'm just taking a second, because I've been, like, focused, and now I'm unfocusing and refocusing on what you guys are saying. Kenneth, you mentioned the Bible mentioning genetic mutation and cloning, right? What exactly are you asking? Like, does the Bible, like, literally say something about genetic mutations? Because that's more, if it does, it's more extrapolation, not explicitly mentioned. That Eve being created from Adam. That was a rib being taken from Adam's body and being formed into a woman. Because Adam himself was formed from the dust of the earth. And so, from Adam was formed Eve. I don't know if that necessarily is related to genetic mutation, though. So, anyways, back to the creation story. We've got all that done. we've got to day 4. Now we're getting things like the sun, the moon, stars. They're coming into a physical body. Instead of it just being generic light all over the place, now it has a centralized location. And then we got birds and fish on day 5. And I still find that fascinating that fish and birds came before animals on the land. And plants also came before animals on the land, which that's not as strange, at least in contrast with other creation theories. But it is interesting that birds and fish came at the same time. Because then after that, on day 6, then you get all the other creatures. Actually, no, before day 6. So you got birds and fish that's mentioned. And it's be fruitful and multiply in the waters and the waters in the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth. And then bring forth living creatures, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God said it was good. So day 5, first we got birds and fish, and then immediately thereafter we've got bears and tigers and sheep and whatever else possibly, not possibly, dinosaurs are created, insects are created, all that comes in after the things that fly. And then, on the 6th day, God makes humankind. He makes Adam and Eve. And if you look through what all that's said about the things that God created, he would say often, God called the day light, the darkness night, and he's doing all these things, and he's creating these things, and he's calling them good. I saw that it was good. He made something here, it was good. The birds, the fish, all the animals, good. But then he makes us, and when he creates us, he ends up calling us very good. And that's interesting, because one of the things that I see very often repeated through humanity, of all the things that exist out there, humanity hates humanity. But in the creation story, when God created all of these things, he called dogs good, he called the sun good, he called insects good, he called birds good, fish good. He didn't call them very good, nor did he create them in his image. But when he came to create us, he called us very good. And yet we call ourselves like the scourge of reality. We end up calling ourselves demeaning things like, we're terrible. We're like, depopulate us, there's a lot of negativity that's spoken towards humanity, but it's not coming from God. God definitely has a problem with the things that we do that are evil, but it's with what we're doing, and it's with people that align themselves with the evil things that they're doing, but not necessarily the people themselves. Children are wonderful. Yes, they are. They are. They're a lot, but they are good. Rome wasn't built in a day, but the world was built in 7. It was built in 6. God rested on the 7th day, but the world was created in 6 days. But if dinosaurs were created just a day ago, does that mean that humans were living in the same period as dinosaurs? Yes. They're annoying. They can be annoying, yes. They are difficult. Children are difficult. But at the same time, they are a blessing, legitimately. There's no emoji for a pouty face, so imagine I'm doing one. Honestly, Zap, I don't think dinosaurs died a long time before we existed, because there does exist art that is scattered across the world of humans with dinosaurs. And I've got, if you're ever interested, I've got people that kind of go into the study of those things, of humanity interacting with dinosaurs in the span of humans' existence, not something that it died long before we came around. Dragons also are in culture too, yes. And I think it's no coincidence that almost every culture has some form of a dragon. So I don't think you can just say, oh yes, the entire world came up with art of dragons and dinosaurs, and yet somehow they never existed, or they only existed before our time. I don't think that's accurate. Yeah. So, and giants. But it's interesting. I wish I could remember. There was a guy that I had listened to once, and he was making a case for the creation story in comparison with the evolution story. And he was making a case like all of our studies and research on biology and evolution, all that kind of stuff, it comes with the biasy and already presupposition that this has always been the way things are. And when we encounter new fossils, we encounter just new things as we're going through geology, or what's not geology? What is the word for like studying of archaeology? But there's a word of like going through the rock layers and stuff. Whatever that's called. We go from the perspective that evolution has always existed and this is how things are, rather than saying, well, what is this creature? How does it work? How does it function? We're instead trying to figure out, how did it evolve? And it's just like, you're already starting off geology, already starting off on the wrong foot. So these things, these dinosaurs, these whatever, they could be millions of years old. They might not be millions of years old. It could just be years-long propaganda to say that they are that old, and we've believed it for all this time. I don't know. I'm not here to say that is fact, nor am I here to say that it's not fact. I don't entirely know, because I didn't exist millions of years ago, obviously. I exist as far back as 31 years ago. But honestly, with all the theories of evolution, no one else has existed millions of years ago that's alive today, and yet we stand on that belief. But people for thousands of years have had a different story entirely, and somehow we are so much more wiser and more knowledgeable than they are. I don't know about that. Could have been here that long. I don't know. I don't know that either. I don't have evidence for that, unfortunately, that exists. But I wanted to start here. All of this to say, I'm not here to have a discussion on, like, what is right evolution of the creation story. Instead, I came all the way back to the beginning because I wanted to set up this whole conversation about forgiveness and the Garden of Eden, where it all starts. Because in chapters 1 and 2 of Genesis, God is creating the entire universe, everything that exists within it, and us. And he creates everything perfect. And he creates us in a garden called the Garden of Eden. And for the first bit, there is no woman, there's just man. And God spends that time showing to Adam every being, every creature that exists in the world that he just created. So every insect, bird, dinosaur, fish, whatever, he is showcasing every plant to Adam, and Adam is naming them. And after doing that for a while, God looks and sees it's not good for man to be alone. He puts Adam to sleep. He pulls a rib out of Adam, and he forms woman. And now there's men and women, Adam and Eve. And he tells them, all right, of all the trees, of all the things that exist in this garden, you can eat of any tree that exists in this garden except one, and it was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, it's interesting to note that also in this garden is the tree of life, that simultaneously existed in this garden. God never said you could not partake of that tree, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, it was like, I don't want you eating from that tree, and he put it there. And there's so many theological debates over why did God do this? Why would God set us up to fail? You know, why would all these things happen knowing that we probably would fail? And I'm not here necessarily to discuss those things, but I can talk about it if you want me to. But point is, God created a tree that would give us, that's fruit, would give us the knowledge of what is good, what is evil. It didn't necessarily give us the knowledge, the ability to differentiate, the wisdom to know the difference between what is good and what is evil, just to know that it existed. And so, in this garden, this perfect garden, all the fruit they can eat, all the food they could eat, all the creatures going in and out of this garden, they end up coming back to this one tree that they're told not to eat from. And Satan ends up either possessing a snake. We don't know what the creature is. There's a serpent, it talks about, which is in this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and it's there. And he speaks to this serpent, and he tries to convince Adam's counterpart Eve to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And Eve, essentially having, though, how are you going to give away paradise for an apple? We don't even know what the fruit is. It could be an apple. We don't know what the fruit is. Doesn't specify. But Eve, you know, God spoke directly to Adam and said, of all these trees that exist out here, don't eat of this particular tree. And Adam passed that knowledge down to Eve, and through a game of telephone, effectively, Eve got a different story about this tree. Apparently to her, the thing that was relayed to her is that if you even, like, touch the tree, I think it's to touch the tree? I think it is. And the woman said to the serpent, we may not eat of the fruit of the tree of the garden, for God said, you shall not eat the fruit of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. Okay, yeah. So, although God said specifically to Adam, don't eat the fruit, Eve ended up kidding, don't even touch the tree. And it was a problem because God did not specifically say, don't touch the tree. God said, don't eat the fruit. So Satan, who works in half-truths, was like, well, hey, you know, you can... Oh, well, let me read it. Okay, I don't want to paraphrase what is literally right here, all right? So, now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast in the field that the Lord had made. He said to the woman, did God actually say, you shall not eat of the fruit? You shall not eat any of tree in the garden. And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden, but God said, you shall not eat the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate it, and she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. And then their eyes were both the eyes of both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. So here we have the first sin. God made Adam and Eve. He made everything. It was good. It was very good. There was no problems. There was no sin. He put a tree in the middle of the garden, said, don't eat of its fruit. If you eat of this fruit, you're going to die. Like, you go a step back. I think it says here. Let's see. Lord took the man and put him in the garden of the Eden to work it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, you may surely eat of every tree in the garden, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat it, for in the day that you eat of it, you will surely die. So it's like, okay. New sinning any % speed run. Lord have mercy. So, God creates this garden. He puts Adam and Eve into it. He puts the tree into the middle of it. every tree is available to you. You may eat of every one except one. Don't eat this one. Eat of this one. The serpent comes along, deceives Eve. She eats of it because she had a little bit of incorrect information, and he played it like a fiddle. And then, of all things, even though Adam knew and had the word directly from God, he also partook of that same tree, and in doing so was disobedient to God, bringing death into the situation. Because, again, part of the problem is that suddenly, now they've become aware of good and evil, but it did not give them the wisdom to discern the difference. So they were aware of all that can come along with the category of evil, of murdering and stealing, of lying and cheating and all that kind of stuff. And then they were aware of good things too, like being honest and, being kind and compassionate and loving. But like, nothing in there was said that they learned the difference between the two. They just were aware that that was a thing. And that's because of that, death entered into the situation. They didn't die immediately, and you'll find that after that, they didn't immediately die. In fact, when you go into the genealogy of Adam and Eve, Adam ended up living like something like 900 some odd years, like 938 question mark years. Let's see. 130. So I was close. Not 38. 930 years. Okay. So they ended up partaking the fruit. Death came in. Knowledge of good and evil came in. And from that moment forward, God already began putting into place forgiveness into that situation. When they took those fig leaves, because they were created naked, they had no even concept that they were naked up until that point, which was interesting too, because there was also no shame up to that point. They were naked, they felt no shame. They tried to take care of that shame by hiding from God and taking those fig leaves and making for themselves some form of clothing. And God immediately went into action right after that and began to address the issue of, why are you hiding from me? Because when people make mistakes, oftentimes a lot of people... Okay, thank you for coming. Also, be sure to answer my question if you've not done so already about the 7 deadly sins, Gaming Warrior. I'd like to know more specifically what you're wanting to talk about when it comes to that. I want me to address from that. So I left you a response in the suggestion channel if you could get to that at some point. But anyways, when people make mistakes and they do things that are wrong, I think their first a lot of us, unless you don't really feel fear, a lot of the first intention is to hide, and to run away. And that's exactly what they did. They began to do what they could to like get right on their own terms, to make clothing for themselves, to hide from God. And God immediately went searching after them and was like, "Why are you hiding?" Even though God knew exactly where they were. There was no mystery or surprise. And we can see here, and they heard the sound of God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, "Where are you?" And he said, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?" And the man said, "The woman who you gave to be with me, she gave me the fruit of the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord said to the woman, what is it that you've done? And the woman said, the serpent deceived me, and I ate. And then from there, God ends up cursing the serpent, but he also sets up redemption. At this point, the serpent had legs, we theorize, because it says, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and the dust you shall eat, and all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. and he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. And this part here is very important because in this, God was already speaking into the situation, saying, I'm going to set up someone, essentially Jesus, that's going to come from woman, from us. And I say us, I'm referring to us as humanity. And he's going to come and he's going to step on the head of this serpent, or of sin, of Satan. But in the process, that was going to get a hold of his heel. And obviously a lot of serpents have venom. And so that venom would kill him. And we would find later on down the road that Jesus, after destroying, like coming to life, living a perfect life, trampling on the serpent, not allowing it to take hold of his life, still succumbed to the death of sin. Not that he sinned, but that the death of sin was put on him. And because of that, though, forgiveness came. Gosh, I was not preparing to go this route. This was not a part of what I was thinking of when I began, but here we are. Oh my gosh, just posted a video on the Discord just posted a video in the Discord that would really go well with what you're talking about right now. Okay, sweet. I'll have to get to that later. But anyways, there are consequences for actions. So consequences fell upon the servant. Consequences fell upon the woman. Because apparently before that point there was childbearing, but it wasn't painful. And then consequences fell upon Adam, because now the ground became an issue for him to work, and things became a lot harder for him. Like, because of this, because you've listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it, and all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. But in the process of this, and sin has entered the world, they've disobeyed God, and now the serpent, Satan, now has a foothold on this earth. He even still in this moment, there's always a sacrifice that must be done for sin. And he ended up taking an animal, killing it, and he created it into a garment for them to wear. So instead of wearing plants, they wore for the first time animal skins. And that was a representation of the price being paid with the blood of an innocent life to cover the sins of humanity. So even though they just made a mistake and curses came upon them because of it, God already began his process of forgiving humanity from day one of the mistakes that they made. And so that's where it started. And then you begin to see this story unfold of humanity failing the mark again and again and again. Just the next chapter, we got, don't eat of a tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the next chapter, we've got Cain and Abel. And what happens? Murder. Well, hell was also created by God. Was it created with heaven and earth, or was it just always there? To my understanding, hell was created as the repository of those who wanted nothing to do with God and were cast out of heaven. So demons and Satan were cast into heaven, or excuse me, cast into hell. Hell was created for them. It wasn't necessarily created for humanity, but when humanity wants to partner up with anything that has nothing to do with God, there is a place for them too. It's the same place. So a place was created for those who want nothing to do with God. That is, minimal amount of God. Although God is still there, because God is in everything. But anyways, so you got that sin, and it just gets immediately worse from there. They have Adam and Eve, have Cain and Abel. Abel lived a life that was pure before God, honorable before God. He lived in the fear of God, and he raised livestock, and when he made sacrifices to God for sins, he sacrificed animals for God. And Cain did vegetables and fruits and whatever else that he made, which was not a life for life in that situation. So his offerings were not pleasing to God, and God told him that, and it didn't make a difference to Cain. So Cain's response in missing the mark was to miss the mark further, and he was the first person to commit murder on the earth and murdered his brother Abel out of jealousy. So it was talking about speed runs. It was a very fast speed run. We got, eating a fruit you said not to eat to murdering your own sibling. That's how fast things devolved. But God, because of all that, God takes forgiveness very seriously. Knowing fully that we were going to make mistakes. I don't need to hear that sound. Go away. Knowing that we're going to make mistakes, God takes very seriously forgiveness. And you begin to see a story about that over time. Over time, the Bible goes into the story of the Israelites and all the mistakes that they made. And anytime the Israelites would, they would do crappy things, but if they would ever apologize and repent of their sins, God would forgive them and save them every time that they would humble themselves. There's even stories in the Bible with the story of Jonah, which was the man who got swallowed by a big fish. He ended up saving a whole place called Nineveh, which I think was Assyrian. I think it was an Assyrian city. He ended up forgiving that place because they apologized for their sins. And so you could see evidence in the Bible of God forgiving sins time and time again and delaying punishment that they very much so deserved. But because they were humble in that time, he put it off until later because he wanted humility and he wanted reconnection with people more than he wanted to punish people, even though there's plenty of times where it says God did this curse or did this thing. I have seen proof of hell is for people. I haven't seen proof hell is for people that we are forgiven. Okay, have a good night, Kenneth. For some reason, I'm just thinking of God like taxes right now. You devote around 5 to 15% of your life to him, and he will most likely make it better. It's not... I don't think that's a way of looking at it. Like, I don't know if God's a tax is a good way of looking at the situation. Because God is life. And so it's not really about a 15% commitment. It's about 100% commitment kind of thing. Because there is no life outside of him. Like, you can live outside of him, but it's going to be a life marked by not greatness. Like, it could be marked by having a lot of money. It could be marked by having a lot of fame and fortune or power or whatever. But if it's apart from him, the money won't matter. It won't bring joy in the end. It won't be enough to satisfy the existential dread within you. The power, it's just going to come at the results of insecurity and hurting other people. Like, God is life, and he is love. So it's not like, oh, if I give, 5% or 15% to him, my life will be better for it. Like, yeah, okay, any amount you give to him is going to be good, but it's not about that, because it's like, to say that he's a tax... I'll be weeping in my 15 million mansion. God. To say that he's a tax, you have to understand it's relationship. So look at it this way. Would you be giving 5 to 15% to your friends, someone you love, or going even deeper, like if you were to be married, to give 5 to 15% to your wife? Like, that's not a relationship. That's... gross. I really didn't mean it seriously. That was just oh, I see. Okay. But still, just addressing that for anyone that does think about that, though. You just think of that stuff sometimes. Okay, yeah. Thinking of that sometimes, though, like for those who do think of that, no, it's like, it's not about giving a certain percentage to God. It's like, it's a relationship. It's like, are you in or you're not in? Like, if you're going to walk with God, it's not necessarily guaranteed that your life is going to be a bed of roses and a good time, but it is going to mean life. And it's going to mean that no matter what comes your way, you're going to have life, and you're going to have it more abundantly than the average person. God did, yes. Yeah. So the whole Bible sets up this story that is of redemption, of redeeming and forgiving humanity of its sins. That culminates with Christ all the many years later into the New Testament with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And so I wonder if there's a thing that says about, like, oh, this is the Bible, Jesus talking about forgiveness. I want to make sure I go to the right scripture verse from that. What Jesus said about forgiveness. Yep, that's what I want. Okay, that was in Matthew 6:14 and 18:22. So 6:14. 14. Okay. So yeah. So gosh, I don't know if I'm going to even touch No Man's Sky at this point. So forgiveness. How seriously does God take forgiveness? Very seriously. Very, very seriously. There's a scripture verse right here that I like to think about when God is talking about what God thinks about forgiveness. For someone that should make an engine, but it's all Bible stuff. Yeah. For living a life that is going to be most honorable, good, loving. Yeah, it's like a thing about that. You can sort by keywords, names, topics, and time periods. Yeah. But anyways, 6:14, the Holy Google. For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others' trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. God takes forgiveness very seriously. So much so that, like, if you are not willing to forgive people, He is not willing to also forgive you on things. That just sounds right. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Wow. Funny though. But God takes forgiveness very seriously. Because honest and truly, I feel like society and a lot of morality hinges on forgiveness. Forgiveness and trust is not the same thing. But forgiveness is a very important part for personal growth. It's a very important part of the healing process in relationships, in society, in your own personal life. One of the things that I've learned just outside the Bible itself is that people seem to cease growing in the last area that they were willing to forgive. And oftentimes, the people that we're unwilling to forgive, we unwillingly also become. Because I've noticed that, like, the things that offend me and that hurt me are also things that I am very capable of the most. Like being manipulated. I can be manipulative and I can be controlling. It is within my nature because I value feeling secure. And so the way you go about feeling secure, if you're like me, is you'd want to try to control and manipulate people to think as you think and do as you do. Exactly. So that way you don't have to feel the worry and the sting of not having people in your life. And that is a real temptation that exists within me. And it is why I very actively, when I talk about things, let you guys know this is where I'm at. And if you want to walk with me in this, great. If you don't, that's fine. Because I am not, someone who is like, I've got like a, accredited degree in psychology or philosophy or whatever. I've just had my life experiences, and this is what I've seen replicated around me multiple times. And I'm very intentional with myself when I'm presenting you guys information, because I don't want that to come out of me. I don't want to be manipulative. I don't want to be controlling. I've been manipulated. I've been controlled. It sucks. And because it is something that I'm both capable of and have had happen to me, it is also very important for me to forgive people that have done those things to me, because when we refuse to forgive things, or forgive people specifically, we kind of turn a blind eye to what that part of themselves in us. We cease to look at the things that we do on a day-to-day basis that are similar to what they did, and we make them the enemy. And instead of being introspective and paying attention of, can I do this thing? Am I capable of this? Am I doing this thing right now? We don't have the space to view that. We end up just focusing on how bad this particular person, whomever they may be, have hurt us. And I think this is a reason why God takes this so very seriously. Because as Jesus was speaking about it, he was like, if you forgive people, I'm going to forgive you. But if you don't forgive people, I'm not going to forgive you. And that's pretty significant, because there's a lot of things that God forgives. Especially, like specifically when you accept his son as your Lord and Savior, and you live a life in respect and honor of him, making him more than just an entity in your life, making him like inviting him into relationship with you. There's a lot of things that he forgives. And we can see that time and time again in the Old Testament, and maybe at some point I can do that as a part of a Bible study. God has forgiven a whole bunch of stuff. But when people cease to be forgiving, I think the process of not forgiving is such a dangerous thing that God's like, you need to deal with this, and you need to deal with it now. And not just to do it once, but to do it multiple times. There was another point where God was talking like a Gentile. One of his disciples came to Jesus, and it was like, how many times should I forgive a person? Should I forgive them 7 times in one day? And Jesus greatly expanded that. And that in Matthew 18:22, I think. Let's see here. Matthew 18:22. Oh, that's another good one. That's not the one I was thinking of. That's another good one. That's also not the one I was thinking of. Dang it. There's so many good ones about forgiveness. Man. This... Okay, actually, no, it actually starts with it. Okay, yeah, so it was Peter. It was Peter that specifically came to Jesus, and he was like, Lord, how often will I forgive my brother's sin? Lord, how often will my brothers sin against me, and I forgive them? As many as 7 times? And Jesus said to him, no. He didn't say no, but he said, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times, or 7 times. So there's different translations of it, but 77 times. And just referring to that in a day, there's different. I think there's different times this was brought up. I don't think this was just brought up in Matthew. But there was a part of it that was the amount of times within a day, someone sinning about you, sinning against you, with one thing in one day, 77 times. And then he went into this story that was about 2 men, it was a parable. It was he was driving the point home about forgiveness by bringing up this story about 2 different people that led. one of them had a servant that owed him like $77 million if you were to translate what the money cost at the time, what it was worth back then. And he was going to like, you're going to have to go to prison for this to make up for this money. Welcome back. For a patent. Oh, okay. So Zappa was mentioning that when Jesus was talking about forgiveness, and Peter had come to him and asked him like, hey, Jesus, how many times do I forgive my brother? Like 7 times? And Jesus was like, no, like 77 times in like one day, like for one thing. And I was noting that either it was a different translation that went into that exact number, or specifically it was in a different book between Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then after that, he went into a story about 2 different leaders, one of which had a servant, or one of the leaders below him had a large debt. What was the debt exactly? It was 10,000 talents. A talent was a monetary unit worth about 20 years' wages for a laborer. About 20 years' wages and he owned 10,000 of those. That's a lot of money. For what kind of person? For a laborer. Okay. Yeah. So 10,000, well, let's see here. We got 10,000 times 20, 200,000. Cut more debt than the entire U.S. I don't know if it's quite that much, but I think they estimated it was something like, it was in the millions. Effectively, it was in the millions. So 20 years worth times 10,000. Let's say the average worker would have made, like a laborer would have made something like, I don't know, maybe let's be generous and say it was 28,000. Let's say 30,000 for like a year. And I don't know, it could have been like millions or more. This man owed this other guy. He broke the WR. And so this man was like, forgive me, like don't send me to prison over this. I have a wife and kids. Like I'll pay everything. And the man had compassion. This rich man had compassion on this other leader and was like, okay, cool. I'll waive this entire debt. Don't worry about it. And yeah, it's quite a bit, yes. And so this really powerful rich person forgave this other man. And so then he went around and he found his servant that was under him. And it was like, hey, pay me this money. You owe me this money. And he owed him a couple hundred denarii, which is what? That is a day's wage for a laborer. So 100 days worth of money, I guess you could say. And he was like, this exactly the same before, like, have patience on me, I'll repay this. But this time, the servant that was just forgiven a lot of debt was just like, no, you need to pay this now, and ended up throwing his own servant into jail so he can pay out for every last bit. And then what ended up happening in this story was that the servants of this man who had just watched him be forgiven but not forgive this other guy came back to the leader that forgave him all this debt and told him, and the guy was like, oh, no way. So he ended up taking that man, throwing him into prison to be tortured, I believe, as well, until like every last bit was paid. Jesus brought this parable to really drive home just how important forgiveness was. God takes it very seriously. Like, you don't not forgive people. He doesn't, again, forgiveness and trust is not the same thing. Yeah. Like I said specifically, when his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed. They went and reported to their master all that had taken place. Then his master summoned him and said to him, "You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt because you pleaded with me." And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant, as I had mercy on you? And in anger his master delivered him over to the jailers until he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. This is why you do your taxes. Yeah, and that's another thing. The Bible actually does tell us to pay taxes. Not to, like, you know, just shrug off taxes. So, do with that what you will. But he takes it very seriously. I don't think there is not a single person that God's like, oh yeah, you don't have to forgive that person. God does not. He is not a tax. But from a biblical perspective, and from Jesus, who is, if you've seen him, you've seen the Father, he takes it very seriously. You know, it's important to forgive other people because we are capable of making mistakes just as well. And there seems to be a good deal of scripture verse that talks about, like, God being merciful to the merciful. So, I don't know, it just, you're going to look at it from a biblical perspective, it's very important. God is the biggest and the most important tax you will ever have, or you can commit tax fraud and tax evasion. There's nowhere you can go if you do that. You will get sent to hell. There's nowhere you can go with that route. Oh, man. He's not a tax. He's not a tax. Because you think about it, he is a giver, more specifically. He has given everything. He had all of our life and our existence exists because he made us. Like, if he did not make us, there would be nothing. Nothing exists apart from him. He is the beginning and the end. So, I don't know. That is still a tax. That is what the Bible specifically talks about when it comes to forgiveness. And that's just nutshelling it. That's not going into every little bit that I could go into, because there is a lot when it comes to forgiveness. Oh, welcome, John. How great that you just now joined. You were asleep. Oh, how convenient. How great. I literally came to the conclusion of what I was thinking of, and then you came at the very end of my conclusion. I should have wasted more time before you got here. But at the same time, if I had done that, I would have not known when you were gotten here, and so I would have just... Oh, God, I don't think I can repeat every single thing. Literally, John, you missed everything. Like, I came into this world, I began looking around it, having fun, exploring things, and then I went through the entire topic going from Genesis to Matthew. Congratulations, you've missed everything. Also, I think there's a button that I can press that sends it up. Yep, there it is. Scan. Okay, well, cool. What is your question? I can work with this.
Thermal protection falling.
He chose, I know. Rip. We've got, no, you came to the conclusion that God is a tax. I did not. I scanned that, right? Yeah, okay, I did. No, not we. No. You specifically came to that conclusion. I will not be included in this we. It's not a cryptocurrency, no. Oh, dear Lord, no. How much do I need of that? But what is your question? What do I need? Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Just need one of those. Oh. Other brand, you gotta pick one. I need to smack power of Christ into me so I can wake up. What? What is the wording of that? I don't understand your wording, John. Unable to synthesize required components. Well, okay. I need help. Salvage planetary chart from Distress Beacon cache. Okay. Autocorrect, yeah. And then that's been repaired, but then I need pure ferrite. Okay. But what is your question? Open your eyes. What is your question? Blurrent. Ah. I scan that? Nope. I guess I don't need to. Put it in. Put in what? Contacts? Oh, darn, I can't get that one. Okay. What is that? Pure ferrite. Oh. I put it in the question. Well, I don't see it. Did you put it in Discord? Where did you put the question? What is that? Frozen tubers. I don't know French. Oh, okay. Just pick that up. Interesting.
Protection falling.
Hello, weird creature. I don't know what you're saying, Zap. I don't speak Canadian. If your friend has been kinda toxic... Oh, new guide entry. Okay. Analyze objects for rewards. Locate starship. Okay. If your friend has been kinda toxic and God wants you to forgive them, how should you handle the problem? Well, I'm sure that Canadian isn't a language, but at the same time, I don't speak it. So first of all, one of the things that you missed, John, that we were talking about was just how important forgiveness was to God. And it was very important. We went through Genesis a little bit because I was setting up that, recognizing as I was kind of beginning the topic that, like, a lot hinges, like, a lot of the Bible hinges on Christ coming to forgive us. Forgive us our sins, to rescue us, to redeem us. Just as much as American is not a language, yes. But, I was going through Genesis because as I was beginning to talk about forgiveness and what it was talking about in the Bible, I began to realize that even from Genesis, God was already starting up a story of forgiveness. Right, the first mistake with Adam and Eve, eating of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he ends up making this mistake, and God already is right off the bat planning on working in redemption. Explains to the serpent that the serpent is now cursed, and then coming in the future, there's going to be a child that's going to step on its head and crush it, but that the snake would end up biting the heel of the person. So it mentioned that. Is that a meteor? Or is that just a literal floating rock? I think that's a meteor. But it doesn't seem like it's getting any closer to the ground. Anyways, so we're talking about that and how, like, God was already beginning to talk about Christ coming to the earth right there in the beginning of Genesis. After that very first mistake, he was already setting that up, and that he also had slaughtered an animal to create skins to cover Adam and Eve because a life needed to be given as a life for a sin. One innocent life for another. So he ended up killing those animals and creating skins for Adam and Eve. Oh, not something that's not identified. That I don't know. Something about... First was about comprehending French, but then the next one, it was too advanced that I don't have recognized it at all. I was talking about that. Then I went all the way up to Matthew because I wanted to talk about what Jesus specifically said about forgiveness, which he said a lot. And I showed that. I went through Matthew 6 and 18, I think. Okay. I think you are a little literate in some... or something? No. I think it's... No? I don't know. I'm getting distracted. I was focusing on freaking French. I went into John. I went into Matthew. Are you still awake, by the way? Am I just gonna go into this and you're just asleep? Before I go into this again, because I can, but I'd rather be speaking to you directly than only to find out you're asleep again or something. Okay, cool. So then I went into what Jesus was specifically had to say, being coming into the world to forgive the world, to provide redemption to the world. So, like, literally the mascot of forgiveness in this case, Redeemer of the world. Jesus comes and he has several things to say about it. First is, like, to bring gravity into the situation. He goes and he's like, in Matthew 6:14, he was talking about the Lord's Prayer, our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as is in heaven. All that stuff. And then after that he says, forgive us of our debts as we've forgiven our debtors, and explains that further, and he says, for if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. So right away, God's like, this is so serious that although I will forgive you these things, if it won't happen if you don't forgive others. Like, how am I going to forgive you if you can't forgive other people? So he immediately brings in a lot of gravity to it. And later, he takes it a step further when Peter approaches him on how many times you're supposed to forgive a person. And he's like, Peter's like, do I forgive them as many as 7 times? And Jesus is like, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. And some people have translated that 70 times 7. It depends on the translation you're looking at, and some of them also refer to in a day, so the quantity of times you forgive someone and how many of it. But he goes in to have this story, all right? And this is a big story. It says, therefore the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began to settle, one One was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. Yeah. And since he could not pay, his master ordered him to be sold with his wife and children and all that he had as payment to be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, "Have patience with me, and I will pay you everything." And out of pity for him, the master of that servant released him and forgave him the debt. But when the same servant went out, he found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 denarii, and seizing him, he began to choke him, saying, "Pay what you owe." So his fellow servant likewise fell down to his knees and pleaded with him, "Have patience with me, and I will pay you." And that same servant who was just now forgiven all that debt refused, and went to put him in prison until he could pay the debt. And when his fellow servant saw that this had taken place, one of his servants saw this taking place. They got greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their master all that had taken place. And then his master summoned that same man that was forgiven all that debt, and said to him, "You wicked servant, I forgave you all that debt, and because you pleaded with me, and should you not have had mercy on your fellow servant, as I have had mercy on you?" And in his anger, the master delivered him to the jailers until he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. So, setting it all up, forgiveness is extremely important to God, and important to Jesus. So it starts off with that, but then you ask the question: if your friend has been kind of toxic and God wants you to forgive them, how should you handle the problem? Forgiveness doesn't necessarily forgiveness, especially when it's a bad situation, doesn't start with a feeling. It starts with a choice. It starts with deciding, I forgive you, even if you don't feel like you're forgiving them. Like, you're not going to feel forgiveness when you first start forgiving a person, because it's just, you're going contrary to what's inside of you. So, for instance, I always like to use this as an example because it was very important to me and life-changing. Those family friends that I've talked about a lot, when they first did what they did to us, and that whole fallout happened that I referred to, I began forgiving them, like, immediately thereafter. And that forgiveness was very hollow. I didn't really feel anything towards them. I was just saying, I choose to forgive them. And it took 4 years of repetitively forgiving them before I truly felt like I had forgiven them fully. And that's okay. Like, when you're forgiving someone, it's not going to come with a feeling, and it's definitely not going to come with trust. But it's slowly bringing you to a place that if you can actually truly see genuine change in them, that you are equipped to begin loving them again. Well, you should be loving the whole time, but, like, working with them again and working towards building bridges. But not until you see their true growth. But until that point, if there's anything that comes to your mind that you think about that they did, it's, okay, I forgive them for cussing me out. I forgive them for hitting me. I forgive them for, calling me names or whatever the infraction might be. And you do it again every time something new comes to mind. And that might look like forgiving them like 50 times in one day, but every time it's just, I forgive them for this. And, next day it comes up, I forgive them for it again. And you keep working on that until you get to a place where suddenly whatever grip they had over your life is no longer there. Because like I said, after 4 years of repetitively forgiving that family, I was finally able to get to a place where not only did I forgive them, but I also prayed for them. And I loved them. And I was no longer scared of them manipulating me again. And so I think in answering your question, it's just recognize that forgiveness is not going to always come with a feeling. but it's still it's more forgiveness is an action, not a feeling. It comes with feelings, but it's really more of an action than a feeling. Oh, a planetary chart. Yeah, let's have that. Finding buildings. Okay. And locate my starship. That looks like a starship. I think I found it. Okay. Highlight chart and plan route. Okay. And you've got this, I think. So does that make sense, John? Highlight chart, press E to plan your route. I don't know what that means. You give me a task. Oh, wait. Plot route.
Alert. Navigational data received.
Ah, okay, cool. I don't understand what you're saying in French, Zap. Here's another question. You know cancel culture, so people make it an apology videos, right? And the whole world just supposed to forgive them for their deeds, like a politician or a YouTuber, etc. How should the world handle the how should the world handle the situation? Is that what you're asking? So you got talking about cancel culture. So people will make an apology in videos. And the whole world is supposed to just forgive them for their deeds. Well, again.
Weather warning. Incoming storm.
Oh, that's not good. That's going to freeze my bones, and we don't want that. Well, again, remember, if they're like the most hated person in the planet,
Protection falling.
forgiveness and trust is not the same thing. Like, I cannot overstate that. Like, while we are required to forgive people, we are not required to trust them. There is a difference between those two. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Hello, cold. Thermal protection rising. When the case of forgiving someone like Jeffrey Dahmer or Hitler, for instance, like, there is forgiveness and trust is not the same thing, or Vladimir Putin, whatever, whomever. Forgiveness and trust is not the same thing. Like, forgiving someone means you are not going to let them, like, you're letting go of the crimes they've done against you, and you're not going to let it eat your lunch. You are letting go of what they've done against you. Doesn't mean you're forgetting what they've done against you. But it means I'm not going to allow, it means, forgiveness means I am not going to allow the wrong that you've done to me to prevent me from loving you. But love does not equal trust. So while I am still going to love you by whatever that might look like, praying for you, depending on the severity of the situation, maybe that'd be the only thing you can do for them, honestly. But I'm not going to allow hatred in my heart form towards you. I refuse to engage in hatred towards you. I refuse to engage in slander or gossip, to engage in murder, to engage in theft, towards you anywhere where I could harm you, I choose to take whatever crime you've done against me and put that into God's hands for him to handle justice towards you. And instead, I choose to love you. That's what forgiveness is. It does not mean, though, that because I forgive you, now I'm going to let you back into my life. That's not forgiveness. That's trust. You need to trust a person to keep them in your life. But if you do not trust a person, then forgiveness does not involve bring them back into your life. If someone is not trustworthy, bringing them into your life is not loving, because that is putting them into a place where they can harm you again, and it will make it very hard to forgive them, and it'll be very hard on yourself. People have to earn your trust. And doesn't mean that you need to be obstinate with your trust and never trust anyone, but it does mean that, like, if someone's doing things that is harmful to you, or harmful to other people, then they have to either apologize and show that they're not doing that again, like living by example, or bye-bye, I can't have you in my life. I'm not going to keep a toxic person around me in hopes that by keeping them around me and forgiving them that they'll just suddenly change. They have to make the decision to change, but I have to make the decision to love them. 2 more questions. What if you can't forgive yourself for something you have done and you beat yourself up about something and drive yourself crazy? Is that a question 1, or is question 2 lumped into that? Out of curiosity. That's 1. Okay. May I answer that question first, and then you bring out your second question, John? Okay. So, I think forgiving yourself is just as much as a process. Did I scan you? I did. Forgiving yourself is just as much of a process as forgiving other people. Forgiving yourself is a thing that you're also not going to really feel the first time you do. Like, you're going to have to forgive yourself before the feelings arrive that you feel like you've forgiven yourself. Because you have to recognize, if you've repented of the things that you've done wrong, you know that God's forgiven you, then you should, by proxy, also forgive yourself, because why would you hold something against you that God's not holding against you? It's not healthy. But it's a process of forgiving yourself, because if you can just, wave your hands and like, okay, I'm not going to hold these things against myself, great, but like most of the time, it might take you some time to kind of fully forgive yourself. It's like when you are the cause of someone's death, it's like in your head. Which again, from what you described, I don't think you are the cause of someone's death at all. I feel like that was a manipulation that was pinned on you. And even if it was, if you've repented of that, I know God forgives you. I have learned the Korvax word for traveler. Sweet. But another part of forgiving yourself is talking about it. Like, imagine, if you will, that this pervasive feeling of you're a bad person, you did this bad thing, you should feel bad about yourself, as an enemy, would it be easier to take down an enemy by yourself, or would it be easier to take down an enemy with someone there helping you? I hear you, but I do not see you. I don't understand what you're saying, Zap. What are these words? Scan? Anything scannable? Wait, did you answer my first question, though? Hold on, before you ask me the next question, did you answer my first question? My question to you was this. Is it easier to take on an enemy by yourself or with a second person with you? Okay, so when it comes to dealing with negative feelings on the inside of you, view them as that same scenario of you're dealing with an enemy. Don't deal with it alone. Bring another person with you. Talk about it with people that, like you're doing now, like talk about it with someone to help you see things from another perspective, to help fight that feeling of unforgiveness towards yourself until you can get to a place where you have fully forgiven yourself. So don't fight it alone. In the same way that you wouldn't fight an enemy alone. Same concept. So, okay, now what is your last question? No one making the recording in case leaving behind the fabricator might be of some use. Visor damaged. Can't find ship. Recover supplies. Sweet. Still don't know what you're saying, Zap. A great conversation for one. And maybe any other Frenchman. Oh, they give me credits. That's nice. How would you forgive yourself for the mustache on your face? Okay. Wow. I love my mustache, so I don't have to forgive myself for it. I scanned. I have not.
Units received. Units received.
Ooh. Take those, because I think those self are pretty nice. No, this is not Subnautica. This is No Man's Sky. It's got some similarities with Subnautica, but it is not apples to apples.
Units received. Units received.
Something about a mustache and Joseph Stalin. Interesting. Frostwort. Analyze objects rewards. I know how to analyze objects. I've been doing this thing. Go away. Can I scan that? I cannot. It's just there. Oh, that's hazardous, apparently. But it's no match to my gun.
Units received.
Still don't know what you're saying. David from the screen. I still don't know what that is either. But what is your most important question? Also, how deep does this tunnel go? What is that sound? Not a fun sound. Oh god. That was it? Oh, okay. I thought that was it had a serious question. Apparently not. Alright. Cool. Oh. There we go. Interesting. I don't know how deep these caves go. I've never gone down into a deep cave in No Man's Sky. I think it just leads... looks like it leads out. Of course. Sure. Oh, but here we go. No, don't slide. Stop sliding. There we go. How has your day been, I guess, John? Oh, wait. I'm not out of the cave. I'm touching snow? Huh? Interesting. Can I get out of here? Is that an exit? I have no idea. No, it's not an exit. I'm just... Where? Okay. Oh. This cave is weird. There we go. Cool. Where does this cave lead? Okay, I've definitely hit a dead end. Okay, cool. I don't know what you're saying, Sam. I cannot communicate because it's all French. And I know none of it. Rip. Rip my communication abilities. Oh, cool. I'm setting out. I'm also stuck. How did I get in here? And how do I get out of here? I mean... trying to set, like, a tall order for me to, like, figure out how to demand that you speak English and understand that that's what you're saying, in, French. How do I... Wait, do I crouch? Is there a crouch? Is that a thing? Nope, that's not what I want. Oh, that's not what I want. I wonder if I'm stuck. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is... Oh, no. I no idea. Oh, God. I think I might be stuck. I am stuck inside a cave. I don't know if I get out. Oh, no. Is there a button for crouch? Hopefully there's a button for... Please be a button for crouch. Controls. Movement controls. Nope, not menus. Let's see. Strafe, interact, perform, activate, zoom, run, activate alt weapon, reload, switch, build mode. Quick menu, pick up technology. Auto walk, no. Confirm pace, no, none of that. Skip confirm, Ooh. I think I'm stuck. And I don't know if there's a get an unstuck button. I can jump, I can run, I can fire a weapon, I can activate a weapon. But nothing in there says anything about jumping. Discard changes. I made none. Okay. Do I have the ability to make the world-shaping multi-tool? Nope, I don't. Dear God in heaven. Okay. Stuck? Slash stuck? No. Not a valid command. Okay. Okay. Leave. Invite player, kick player. Slash help? Nope, not a command. Okay, well. Can I teleport? Is that a thing? Let's see. Gestures, photo mode, equipment, summon vehicle. Nothing here. Creature, utility, toggle torch, swap multi-tool, change secondary. Nope. Oh boy. Oh no. Okay, well. Oh lord. Why does this game not have crouching? I need crouching in my life, and I cannot crouch in a time where crouching is very important. One man is about to find out that that is not a thing. Oh boy. That's not useful. That's not an exit point. My only exit point has a pathing that I cannot take. God. Okay, well. Oh no. And I do not want to have to reload. Because I don't even know if I can. Is there a load that I can do? Reload at autosave. Where does that even take me? Does that take me to like the very beginning? How much progress have I lost? And also, what an interesting and ominous looking thing. Man. Oh. Wait a minute. Where did I wait. Oh no. Oh no! Oh no! 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 Frick! No! What is this nonsense? Ah! Oh god! Oh no! Ah! Oh help! Wait, there has to be a way. There has to be a way. How? No Man's Sky. How to get unstuck. Is there a command for that? Shoot yourself with plasma grenade. I don't have a plasma grenade. Oh god. Oh god. Stuck in a freighter wall. I'm stuck in a wall and I can't get out. Reddit, do you have an answer? Let's see. I got stuck in a wall. Nope. Go to the options menu. There you'll be able to reload your last autosave. Oh, that's not helpful. I just did. Should be on hearing God's voice and how to talk to him. Oh, that'd be a good one. I would first like to hear more from what Gaming Warrior has to say. So I want to jump on what he said next. But everything that I'm seeing about this thing looks like you either die or you reload. Alt F4. That's Alt F4. Left control to go to edit mode and delete the piece. Reload less, put me back on the roof. Okay, well, let me see. Let's see here. Reload restore point. That actually is slightly sooner, but it's probably the same thing. Oh my god! How disappointing. I find this cave, I go exploring it, and I just get into a place I can't get out. Third one on sinning. Oh, that's giving me a lot. Oh! Oh my god. Okay. Okay, the only thing I've lost now is just getting to that marked coordinate. Okay, that was terrifying. Okay, cool. Okay. Wow. That was something. Hello, random creature. So yeah, those are all topics I actually would like to go into. What's considered sinning? Like, is it just the 10 Commandments, or is there more? Well, I mean, there's literally like the whole book of Leviticus and Deuteronomy and other places that talk about that and what Jesus mentioned. So like, there's a lot of things that are considered that, but a lot of it can be pinned down to specifically, are you loving God and are you loving others? And kind of diving into that more. Yeah, there is no scripture verse that justifies that. Like, is it gonna be the first thing that God works on when he saves you? No. There might be a lot of different things he works you on. But, like, he does consider that to be a sin. Which is something I have talked about earlier. And could go over again. Alright, let me go back to this thing. And then once I get back to it, then we can close it out here. I need to change the colors of my man, though. These colors are not it. There has to be a way to do that, but I feel like it's on the ship or something. I'm not sure that if it's here that you can change it. Or you might be able to craft something for that. Okay. Is that rock right there? It's not anymore. Boop. Navigation data, yeah, that's good. All these things that you're saying. Recover. Hey, Road 9. Oh, it had a hermetic seal. Okay, that's useful. I didn't notice that from the last time. This time, I'm only going to go partly into the cave and pick up what I need, rather than going all the way and getting stuck again. I have no idea what this man is saying. You're stuck in Minecraft? Where are you stuck? The village with the windmill. Okay, so my place. Okay. I have to be able to see if I can save it. I think that probably is related to the fact that you're not presently in my community. I went into the houses. I was expecting to be a pressure plate behind the door, but it wasn't. Oh, okay. I can fix that. Once I finish this stream tonight, I can go back there and pull you out of that place. Do not be afraid. I can bring you out of house and make you safe. Yes. Gosh. Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say or anything. This man, this Zap, just refuses to speak English anymore. And I forgot how rough it is to start out with. Yes, it's a little bit rough. There we go. There we go. Now I can get back to my ship. I keep saying you should speak in English. I demand that you speak in English, but you keep not. You have completely ignored the times that I have said that. It took long because you did not hear me the first time I said it. That's why. No, I don't know. I much less know Chinese in comparison to French. I listen every time and never once did you. Yes, I did. You were not listening well enough, good sir. Yeah, okay. I feel like I'm listening fair enough. So, Road 9, the topic today that we've talked about has been on the, it's been a discussion on forgiveness. And, like, we're taking it specifically from, like, a Bible perspective. Although I talked a little bit about, like, some more psychology perspectives on forgiveness, but the main focus has been what the Bible says about forgiveness. So, what I'm just curious is, do you have any, like, thoughts on the topic of forgiveness, or any questions about forgiveness? Is it bad to not trust women? I mean, as, like, not at all in any situation? Like, as a whole? My French prison without furniture. Oh my god. What is that? Sweet root. Interesting. Wait. I don't know Chinese. Sweet root. Short for F. Yeah, I don't even begin to know what that says. Oh, then apparently one word was stream. Oh, good. Milestone. Setting out. Good. What? What have you changed your mind about? I figured. Especially since it came with the word stream or steam right in the middle of it.
Component repaired. Technology repaired.
Now I just need my pure ferrite. I am stuck in Minecraft, and you're going to play a game that I have on Steam. Ah, I see. And are you going to play a game that I have on Steam? I don't know. Do you happen to have this game? I think I already have part of that. Dihydrogen. I think I put that in there already. Yeah, that's already done. Now it's just the pure ferrite. Ah. This is a good one to have. Refineries. Ah, yes. Arc is going to be hell. Oh, you have Arc. Excellent. Very good. There we go. Yes, build this thing. Oh. Not me to mine it, though. And then we'll just put fuel supply carbon.
Technology breach.
And we will take ferrite dust and convert that into pure ferrite. Ark is going to get rid of the official servers in what? Oh, probably in store for the new ones then, I guess. Ark Survival 2. Also, I was asking a question to you, Road 9. You were asking, is it bad to not trust women? And I was wondering, like, more specifically about that. It feels so weird being able to actually comment and you understand. You do that most of the time. Or like girls. So like.
Component repaired.
Oh, this is about to do a cutscene, I think. Maybe? Maybe not. Uranium star launch pad fuel. Okay. What? Hello. Okay. So, like, what? Like, are you... Just something about they judge everything. So, like, are you saying, like, you don't trust, like, girls in general? Like, on a broad scale? Like, what does this look like, specifically? Or women in general? Like, what? How? Like, because it seems like a broad stroke to me. But I took a break. It was pretty fun. Might do it more often. Every time there's a specific word or sentence I need to say, I have to speak in French until you say it. Please, oh God, no. If you do that too much, I'll just give up. And you can keep speaking, and then I will never understand what you're saying. Yeah, it'll be fun for you. Party for one. Well, on a broad scale, like, I don't think it's good that you distrust all girls and or all women. Like, because not all girls or all women are untrustworthy, and not all of them are judgmental. So, that probably is something that you'd want to, like, work through with someone, like, talk about and whatnot. Like, you can talk about it here. Like, have you been often, like, knowingly judged by women, or do you just feel judged by them? Like, how does that look? My grammar is not good because I don't really understand what broad means. Like, saying, like, what a broad is. Like, referring to a woman as a broad. Now that I have that, can I build... Yeah, the word broad. Like, broad, without looking at a dictionary, my understanding of the word broad usually is referring, like, a derogatory word towards a woman. Or a word that he was saying. Wait, when did Zap say broad? Or saying broadly? That I said. What was the context that I said broad? Like, talking about, like, do you just broadly distrust women? Is that what you're talking about? Nope. X. That's what I wanted. Utilities. Like I said, not the best at grammar, so I don't know what the heck you said. So was the context of which I was saying broad, was I saying that, was I asking if you broadly did not trust women? Was that the context Does that ring a bell? Because I'm trying to understand what you're specifically looking at here. I'm not understanding. I can better explain. Okay, yeah. Broad meaning, when I say broad in this context, or broadly, it means generalizing. Like, it means, okay, let me think here. Do you, in other words, do you broadly not trust women? Like, do you not... I know what it means, but, like, trying to word it differently. Do you not trust women at large? Like, is there a lot of women you just do not trust? Got some broad... Well, that's another context, too. But, like, broad means, like, wide. Like, you're, like, in many different contexts besides just one. Like a blanket statement. Like, I generalize. Like, I apply a understanding or belief about something much more widely than just a small context. Does any of that make sense? And yeah, it can reference shoulders, broad shoulders, but, like, that's, like, the visual representation of the word. It only applies... No, it does not only apply to shoulders. Yeah, overall, that is another way of explaining it, too. Yes, overall. I saw explosions happening over here. I probably should have explored that in the ship rather than running all the way away from the ship and then having to run back to the ship. That dog, that creature is ugly as sin. I've lost track. Well, first of all, before I go to that, did you understand what I was describing, the description that we gave for the word broad, Road 9? Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there, Zap. Okay, cool. So yeah, my Steam name is the same as my Discord name, MopsterB353. But my picture is not the same as my Discord picture, though. It's different. Woo. Okay. Pulse engine unavailable. Okay, well. Seek answers among the stars. Well. Mopster B, where'd that name come from? It came from my dad. Okay. My dad, his initials are MOB. And since I came in, came into the gaming world young, we ended up utilizing, Test Starship Systems, Test Thrust, which that's what I'm doing. Test Starship Systems, Test Boost with left shift. I did that too. Pulse engine. Warp speed. Cool. Slow down. I only have so much energy to do this. Okay. We'll get to that signal in just a second. But yeah, his initials are MOB. So he ended up creating a name for himself that was Mopster. Mopster B. Because also our last name is Brown. So it made sense to be, double that. And then, when I got into the gaming world online, my dad did not want me to have my own account, so he made me use his. So then I ended up using his name, and then when I started playing RuneScape, the name Mobster B was already taken, so I ended up using the name Mobster B353, and it's stuck ever since. I don't really want to pull it up in Discord. Okay, well, that would be Mobster B353. There you go. Ah! There we go. That goes there. This goes here. There we go. Okay. Keep shooting this gun. All right. Not want to hit a rock. I want to find not a planet, but another planet. Whoa. There are multiple planets. And I should also answer that. What is this thing? Answer, please. Incoming transmission. Please identify yourself. I identify myself. You are not alone. Follow the... Okay. Broadcast ends strangely. As it begins, the final piece of the signal appears to set on planetary coordinates. Input coordinates. Oh, now...
Navigational data received.
Oh, okay. Am I going back to the planet I just came off of? Nope, it's over here. It's over here. It's... Whoa. Yeah. That is my name. Signal arrives in 3 hours. No thanks. One minute and 7 seconds is a lot better. There we go. This is what's fun. There is a lot of exploration you can do with No Man's Sky and a lot of different places you can find. I don't know, however, if that green planet, it actually is a regular Terran planet, or if it's toxic. And I cannot tell from here. That's a frost crystal planet. No, a Hemal planet? Don't know what that means. Himalayan? Maybe? Is that a planet with a red ocean? Should I break Zap again by doing smash? Oh god! That'd be interesting. But no, I'm gonna be ending the stream here soon, so wouldn't be the best time for that. But breaking Zap is fun. That sounds like fun. After torturing me with French for so long. I'm gonna respond in French. Yep, his defense. I haven't seen anything yet because I haven't really switched. Is this the location? Oh lord. Am I flying over it? It's still constantly in front of me. Did I go behind it? Oh lord. Oh gosh, I am... Hello. It's still over there. Ah! Oh god! I can't tell if I'm getting closer. Oh. Or what? Or if it's just like underground or something. Okay, slow down. Just land me. Where? Well, I can see nothing. None of my signs are showing up. Oh, now I can see things. I discovered the planet, but I lost the signal. Cool. Where am I? I'm on another frozen planet after leaving the first frozen planet, and I don't know what I was looking for. Oh. Oh, it's this way, apparently. Okay. There's a creature. I'm getting closer. Is it this creature? Oh, yeah, I did see that name. That's fair. I did see that name. I thought you were talking about some other thing. It's over there, question mark?
Thermal protection falling.
Oh, here we are. Okay, I'm like, what am I headed towards? Alsong. Okay, here we go. Tapping to the broadcast into the void. Whoever left the message is long gone. Decipher it. $16. No fuel in. Failed to reach station. Hazard protection low. No choice but to underground. Deploy base computer. As well as the long entry, the signal contains plans for the base computer and terrain manipulator. Oh, that's useful. With any luck, the base computer holds more information about whoever is leaving these messages. Extract plans. I figured that, yeah. But apparently Zap did not. Possibly. It's a silly goose. That'd be fun. First name Silly, last name Goose. My name is Goose. Ooh. You are a silly goose. Somewhat. Oh no, that's no fun. Absolutely chunky of a creature. So, before I head out here, do you have any other questions, Road 9, questions about, specifically, like, looking into specifically about, forgiveness, which is the topic we've been having today? Okay, cool. Oh, I thought that you thought that I thought you thought that I thought you thought was wrong. That you thought was okay. Cool. Yep, and with that said, indeed, as I get into my nice, warm, toasty ship, you got it. Because I'm tired and I have no other thoughts to raid or think about or whatever. So yes, with that said, thank you guys for coming and joining today. If you've enjoyed this, you're always welcome to join us on our Discord because we love to have you with us. We love to do community events from time to time. And sometimes we like to do stuff that's outside the stream. So you are always welcome to join us on our Discord group, the link that is in the description below. If you ever are going to do a 24-hour stream, can you do it only like on a Sunday? That's a good question. I've thought about doing something like that on like a Saturday into a Sunday. So if I were to do it, it might be something of that nature, starting at like, I don't know, 8 a.m. on a Saturday into 8 a.m. on a Sunday. That's also possible. It's one of the first Thought Raid streams where I actually feel tired. Well, great, because it's late for you, I guess. I think it's because I just got actual sleep last night. Yeah, school and everything. So I might do something like that. If I were to do it, it might be from like, you know, Saturday into Sunday, 8 p.m. on 8 a.m. Saturday into 8 a.m. Sunday kind of thing. So we'll see. But we're getting towards that. I would try to swing it with Noah, and then maybe have like one other person involved in that stream, keep us going. But maybe I can get Axeman involved because he is definitely a night owl and probably could handle it just fine. Woo, baby! Did you know that coffee is considered a drug? Caffeine is, yeah. But anyways, thank you for joining, guys. I always enjoyed talking to you, and thank you for bringing to the conversation, even if part of it was in French and I had no idea what was being said. But again, you're welcome to join our Discord group if you've not done so already. The link to that is in the description below. So yes, join Discord again. Same, I'm fading as well, so that is fair. But with all that said, I want to thank you guys for watching. We broadcast every week on Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be live again this Friday with some more gaming. I'd like to formally invite you to that. We'll see you again soon. I love you guys.
I see a potential in my eyes. I see a potential. I never lost sight of the reason why you're alive. You're alive. You're alive. We sing Jesus.